I've lost count at the amount of monitors I've tried for my day trading setup trying to get to its final form. And ladies and gentlemen, I may be in the end game because Dell just sent me their all new 52-inch ultra sharp 6K monitor to check out, and it's like they took everything I liked from the other monitors and packed it into this box. And as you can see, the box looks big enough to fit me and the TV behind me, so let's take a look at what's inside. Inside the box, of course, it comes with the monitor and the stand, a power cable, HDMI cable, DisplayPort cable, a Thunderbolt 4 cable, a USB-C to USB-A, and the user guide manual. The stand it comes in is your standard Visa clip-on stand, so it doesn't flip portrait, but it does everything else like tilt and swivel and is height adjustable. The power button is located on the back corner and has a little joystick and button for toggling the menu. Connectivity-wise, it's an absolute powerhouse. It has the power, 2 HDMI ports, 2 display ports, 1 Thunderbolt that has 140 watt power so I can charge my laptop, 3 USB-Cs, 4 USB-As, and an Ethernet port. But wait, there's more. Hidden in the front, there is a USB hub that has 2 more USB-Cs and a USB-A. Why so many ports? Well, this monitor has a built-in KVM switch, which means that I could take one mouse and keyboard and control up to 4 PCs. So this has PBP, picture by picture, which allows me to split screen up to 4 separate monitors, all hooked up to different PCs, Macs, or even Linux. The screen itself is a massive 52-inch IPS panel with true black technology, meaning that it's got the deep blacks without the flickering issues like the OLEDs have. It has a 21:9 aspect ratio, so it's an ultra wide, and yes, there is a slight curve to the monitor. How much of a curve? Well, here I have a 55-inch Samsung Odyssey Arc, and this one has a 1000R curvature. So as you can see, it's very curved, which I wasn't a fan of. So how this works is lower the radius number means deeper the curve. Because viewing a small circle from the inside, the curve will be much more pronounced than viewing a much bigger circle at the same viewing angle. So the new Dell has a 4200R curve, which means it's very subtle to the point where honestly from the viewing angle it's barely even noticeable. But here's why I say I may be in the end game. When it comes to trading, there's 2 things I prioritize for my monitors, and that's resolution and screen size. Resolution is all about screen real estate. How much information can I fit and see on a screen? This being an ultra wide 6K, it has a 6144 by 2560 pixel count, and screen size is just simply how big can I see this information. So here I have my 55-inch Samsung monitor again. Yes, it's huge, but it's only 4K resolution. You heard it here first, 4K is officially outdated now. So if this is only 4K, it doesn't matter how big the screen is, I can't fit more charts, level 2 spreadsheets or anything like that more than I can any other 4K monitors out there. The only thing different is that everything will be much larger in scale because it's being displayed on a larger screen. Now here I have a 5K monitor. I've told you, I've tried them all. This one can fit more data, charts, level 2s, way more than those 4K sitting over there in the losers table now. But the screen size is only 27 inches. So that data is being displayed on a much smaller scale, which is fine for images, graphics, and gaming. But for numbers and text, what's the use of all those extra pixels if I can't read the damn thing? So anything dealing with text and numbers, I'm always finding myself having to bump up the scaling from 100% to 150%, which means I lose a lot of that screen real estate, making that 5K useless. Now I'm explaining all this because what Dell has done here is given both. It's got the resolution and the screen size big enough so I can fully take advantage of the 6K resolution no matter what it is I'm doing. So right now, looking at this at 6K, 100% scaling, I can confidently say the text and numbers are clear to read at this screen size, especially for me who's coming from a 28-inch 4K monitor. Now remember, this is also an ultra sharp, so this is built for day traders, data analysts, editors, so the text is very clear and crisp. The camera probably isn't doing it justice. And as a day trader, I'm looking at numbers and text just fluctuating in my face all day. I don't know how I haven't had a seizure yet, but one of the reasons why I like my current setup and the BenQs is because of its Eyecare features. So blue light is what causes a lot of headaches, eye strain, it's bad for sleep, I mean the list goes on. Well, this here is the world's first monitor to get the highest tier certification from TUV Raylan because this has 60% less blue light than anything else out there right now. Now remember, this is as is, so without actually affecting the color shown on the screen, because yes, there's monitors out there that you can turn down the blue light, but it always looks like someone pissed on the screen. And the cherry on top is that it has a 120 Hz refresh rate. Thank goodness, because one of the biggest complaints I had with my BenQs was paying top dollar for a high-end monitor, especially in today's age, and only receiving a 60 Hz refresh rate. This being marketed as a productivity monitor, 120 Hz means more versatility, so I can also enjoy gaming, movies, and all the fun stuff stuff. The monitor also has 2 built-in speakers, which kind of sound average, but the volume is there, it's loud enough, which is all I need. And this being a review, especially for my fellow traders out there, I do actually want to trade on it before giving my final thoughts, so give me a couple days. Okay, just got done trading a full day, 7-hour session. And the funny thing is, I almost shorted the Dell today. It looked good a couple of times, but never ended up pulling the trigger, which I thought would have been kind of hilarious. But let me show you how I did today. I finished just a little over 6K today. Not a bad start with this setup. I definitely have to get used to it though, because I've been using a vertical layout for years now. I was catching myself out of habit looking at the wrong spots on the monitor. But final thoughts. So for me, it's all about screen real estate. Finally, I get a 6K monitor with a usable screen size for my trading. It can replace a multiple monitor setup, giving a much cleaner, no bezel look. And I had zero issues reading numbers and text at 100% scaling, so I can take full advantage of the 6K resolution. Eye comfort. This has the lowest blue light out there at the moment. It's holding up the TUV Raylan Championship belt up nice and high. I also wear my blue light glasses, so no eye fatigue here. This is also the king of productivity. The PBP function that allows me to partition my screen and connect up to 4 PCs for multitasking, trading, spreadsheets, video editing. I mean, there seems to be no limits here. It's definitely way more than what I need it for. And that paired with a KVM switch, so I can do all of this with a single mouse and keyboard, is also a must at this point. It also has the Thunderbolt 4 connectivity that gives 140 watt power for my laptop, and the 120 Hz refresh rate with IPS black technology means this is not only for work, but also play without the flickering issues like the OLEDs. Also, I think I forgot to mention, but it's also environmental friendly. It's all made of recycled materials, which means it's lighter in weight. So the monitor for its size is actually easy to move around. Now the cons, the price is pretty steep. Without the stand, it comes in at $27.99, and with the stand at $28.99. Now it is catered to the professionals, but $3K for a monitor is always tough to pull the trigger on. But other than the price, I think it comes down to personal preference at this point. So this isn't really a con, but more of a wish list for me. So one thing I can't seem to get around is the ultra wide monitors. I've never been a fan of it. I always prefer the 16:9 standard monitors. So if Dell came out with a standard version of this, where you're getting more pixel count to the upside, so you're getting true 6K, not ultra wide 6K, then I think it would be a lock for me. Because I always like the option to go vertical, and it's really difficult to do on something like an ultra wide. And I guess if the monitor was all black would have been nice, but now I'm kind of nitpicking. But like I said, it's almost like they got everything I liked from the other monitors and just packed it into here. So thank you to Brittany and Dell for sending me this awesome masterpiece. Now the question is, will this replace my current setup? I think I want to spend more time with it because, like I said, I've been using a vertical layout for the majority of my career now. So I'm going to go back and forth, mess with the layout before I make my final decision. You'll find out the answer soon enough in my next setup video. But for now, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, I appreciate you bringing your hopes here on the next one. Peace.